start by saying thanks to our fans. You could feel the energy and passion behind us throughout the game, and as we were fighting to come back, the fans were. It was just really good connection. You could feel that, and our guys needed it. Providence deserves a lot of credit. They made a lot of tough shots. They're a really hard team to guard. We knew coming into the game that the defensive end was going to be the bigger challenge. Certainly we're not great on that end, but we got, just enough stops to win this game. A lot of credit to really down the stat sheet of all of our guys. Demarius Owens' presence of mind to go get that ball and, give us an opportunity at another possession down there at the end of regulation. Royce Parham for going to get it and making a good pass to NJ. NJ showed a lot of toughness and guts. It's hard to make 3 free throws in a row. It's even harder to make 2 and then go into sit in a timeout and then go make another one. But his poise right now and his connection with teammates, coaches, the game plan is really, really special for a freshman.
NJ's poise beyond his years. Where do you think that comes from for him?
Well, his family, his mom and dad deserve a ton of credit for the young man they raised. He's a guy that he has more maturity as a young man than most freshmen because of what he's been exposed to. Believe it or not, his dad had a vision for him. Long before we even got to Marquette. There's a cool picture of him, or video of him, working out at 12, 13 years old in a Marquette shirt. And then, one thing, Ben, that a lot of people don't understand is these guys, they're not all created equally from the standpoint of the high school or pre-college background they come from. So, like the kid Vox for Providence, that guy's been in some games before he got to college. You can see that. Nigel James, I sat there. I had the good fortune last season of sitting in the front row courtside. I happened to get to sit next to Chris Mullen, which was awesome, and watch him, with his team beat the #1 team in the country. That's a big difference than if you just go to, your normal high school and you're playing against regular competition with high school basketball players. So that goes a long way into his preparation.
With the free throws, you guys missed some in the second half, but Nigel knocked those 3 down. As a coach, how do you prepare guys for those clutch free throws in that moment?
That's one of the toughest things to prepare players for, because anything you do outside of the game is, a pretty poor simulation of the pressure you're going to feel in the game, in the moment. We shoot pressure free throws. Guys work a lot on their free throws on their own. But, honestly, it comes down to poise and guts. But you could see the look on his face. He knew he was going to make it. He wanted the free throws. Not everybody's made for that position. Not everybody's made for, that role to be the floor leader, the guy that's attacking, the guy that's got the ball in his hands when it matters most. NJ is made for that.
You found yourself up at halftime before the game doesn't go your way in the second half today. It looked like that could happen, but you were able to get it done. Is that from the experiences of past games, or what was the difference maker today?
I think so. I think our guys, they never stopped believing. Obviously, we have a lot of work to do to get better in what we call the 6th round, which is the first 4 minutes of the half. The last 2 games, just nowhere near enough defensive resistance for the other team, and then offensively a little bit more tentative than we were really the rest of the game, the first half and then even the rest of the second half. So, my job as a coach is to help the guys understand, we got to have a level of aggressiveness coming out of the locker room, which at times early in the year we've been better at, but we've got to find a way to turn that around. But I thought our guys hung in there. The timeouts were really good, what they were saying to each other. We had some unfortunate plays, some fouls. We had a couple guys foul out. some free throws, as you mentioned, that we missed. I didn't think there was a lot of head dropping. There were a couple head scratching plays, but they hung in there through that. These are imperfect games. They're always going to be that, particularly when you got a lot of young guys out there.
NJ, when he scored 31 against Villanova, he was the first freshman to have 30-plus points since Marcus Howard. Kim English kind of compared him to Tony Parker in the paint. Kind of, what does that mean, kind of the freshman who can kind of control the offense for you and be that captain on the floor like he talks about, and have that faith in him that he can be that guy that comes up clutch when it matters most and hit those free throws?
Yeah, I mean, he runs the team, and he attacks. He does a really good job finding seams. I thought 8 assists and 1 turnover tonight was every bit as important as 31 points. He was able, we need NJ to be the guy that gets Royce Parham shots. He did that. We need NJ to be the guy that gets different guys on the perimeter outside looks. He did that. And he played with really good poise. The way Providence was defending, there was a lot of switching. He did a good job getting angles. And he just stays aggressive. The hardest thing for a first-year point guard is deciding when to shoot and when to pass. You guys remember Tyler struggled with that a little bit in his first year. His was more on the end of passing too much. And then he got into his second year, and he really got in a groove of being terrific at both. And Jay, with our team and the makeup of our team right now, we need him to score. But we also need him to ensure that the other guys in our team have an opportunity to eat too, because when they do, that changes their confidence, that changes their defensive aggressiveness, that changes our connectivity. And I thought he had a good blend of that tonight.
You talked a little about Royce. Royce had 18 tonight on 70% true shooting. Just what growth have you seen from him on the offensive side ball specifically?
He's come a long way. We talked about in the summer the fact that sophomore year can be tricky. He was on the all-freshman team last year, and there was certainly a feeling in his mind he wanted to be a starter. He wanted to be an All-Big East player. He had really big goals. He started the year coming off the bench, and he had a great attitude about it. But his first 10 or 12 games, there was some inconsistency there. He had some tough games. It's like clockwork for a lot of sophomores that you kind of feel like, hey, I got a year under my belt. I'm ready to kick ass, and it doesn't always happen at that easily. But if you work, if you watch tape, if you learn, if you're in the gym extra like Royce is, if you care like Royce does, then you get better because he's a talented young guy. And we've always known that he can score the basketball. We just got to keep putting him in positions where he does. I thought he got high-quality shots, which that's what leads to a high shooting percentage. And I'm really, just proud of him for continuing to attack.
Coach, we were able to talk to him about how you won the recruiting battle against Providence to get Nigel to campus. What was that like, and how important was it to get him here, and what did you sell him on about being a Golden Eagle?
Yeah, I mean, no disrespect to anyone else, but there was a different type of recruiting that went on at Marquette with that young man. It was a level of connection and communication and relationship beyond basketball that was real, and I think he appreciated that. As I mentioned, his dad always had an affinity for Marquette, and that's what kind of gave us a jump start in the recruiting process. But we learned early on when they came to visit that Nigel James Jr. was going to make his own decision, and we had to win him over. And so we just did it through relationships. Remember, we went to his house, Cody and I, at one point, and we sat down with them. And, we're not big on pressuring guys, but he could feel that, we really wanted him to commit. And he stood up and he said, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to commit. I love you guys, but, I have to get to the point where I know for sure. And he just, he's got an uncommon maturity about him. He took control of his own situation, but I think he respected the investment. There was an incredible amount of time and energy invested in him during that process, and I think he appreciated that. And he was smart enough to foresee the fact that we could have a connection like we have now that could allow him to play the way he did tonight.
NJ's been one of the best in the country at getting shots at the rim, but how have you seen him figure out how to finish better as a small guard?
Yeah, I mean, our whole team finished better today. Chase struggled in the second half with some that went off the front of the rim and some that he didn't make. But beyond that, if you look at our rim shot percentage, it was much, much better, which is what we have to do. I think we're one of the top 5 or 10 teams in the country at getting shots in the paint, but we've been really, really, not great at finishing down there for a variety of reasons. I thought our guys, we work on it every day. I mean, it's the amount we work on that is extreme, but I think it's paying off. Royce is playing with more poise down there. NJ is playing with more poise. Ben had some good finishes down there. And I think just patience, balance, understanding angles. Oswin's a really good shot blocker. He's a really, really good shot blocker. So, he got us a few times. It looked like volleyball, spikes. But beyond those few, the guys did a good job getting angles and getting those shots off. Thank you, guys.